Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about a small cap AI stock, about a $500 million market cap called Datavault AI. DVLT is the ticker symbol. I invested in this stock a couple of weeks ago. Okay. I have an average cost around $1.50 and some change. Okay. So just so you know, I am up like 50%, 60%, something like that on this position. This is what we do. We go out and find these under the radar AI stocks. Okay, that's what we do in the trading community. We identified Datavault at $1.50 after its fall from $4, saying, hey, this thing's actually got a lot of value. There's been a lot of good news recently that Wall Street is not paying attention to. If you guys want to come join that community, link down below in the description of today's episode. But the stock today is up 45%. And there's no new news, but here's what I'll tell you. Wall Street has not reacted to the news that we've already had. Okay? So I think today people are like seeing Datavault and they're looking at the news from a couple of days ago. There's actually been a lot of news for the stock during this market downtrend, but we've had margin calls in the crypto market that have just decimated this market. Collateral has been drained from the system, really liquidity, and it's because of the crypto market. But on a day like today, all of that good news for Datavault recently comes back around. So we're going to get into, my thoughts around this stock, what I think could be coming, the chart, why I bought the stock in the first place, and some of the recent news developments. Do me a quick favor, hit that like button. Number 2, subscribe to the channel. And number 3, check that link out down below in the description of today's episode if you guys want to come join the trading community. Now, the biggest single piece of news happened on earnings. They reported earnings November 14th. The stock on November 14th went up 18, almost 19%. Then it went up 2%. Then it fell 6%. Then it fell 9%. On November 14th, the stock hit a high of the day of $1.87. Okay. And then it proceeded to hit a low on November 19th at $1.49. Now it's up to $2.54. The big news on earnings was the guidance raise. Take a look at this. Okay. This article. Is it this one? This one. It says Datavault AI just raised guidance by 400%. Are you paying attention? This article came out today. It seemed to have stirred part of this rally. It's almost like Wall Street didn't know that Datavault AI raised guidance so much. Interesting. But it says the catalyst was a tangible piece of news, a multi-million-dollar agreement with Triton Geothermal. This development provides a powerful validation of the company's aggressive pivot from a legacy auto hardware business into a high-growth artificial intelligence and data monetization enterprise. With a market capitalization of around $500 million, Datavault AI has been on investors' radars as it transforms itself. The timing of the Triton announcement was strategic, arriving just as the company delivered its third quarter 2025 corporate update. This potent combination of a new high-value contract and a strong financial report suggests Datavault AI may have reached a key inflection point where its ambitious vision is finally translating into measurable results. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what Datavault AI does, they're essentially using the blockchain and their patented technologies to take real-world assets, stands for RWA, real-world assets, and tokenizing them, making them tradable, transferable, and monetizable. Okay? Now, what Datavault AI, they're doing that, right? They're tokenizing assets. But the way that they're structuring their contracts is on a recurring basis. Okay, so with this, they partnered with Triton Geothermal. They've partnered with like biopharmas, right? There's basically an application anywhere, whether it's green energy or energy in general, biopharma, governments, military. Like there's anything can be tokenized. Art, you name it. Literally, this water bottle could be tokenized. Okay, you could trade this water bottle virtually if you wanted to. Anything can be tokenized. Now, the way that they're structuring these deals, it says upfront and milestone revenue. The agreement includes up to $8 million in tokenization fees. These payments are tied to Triton's planned $125 million real-world asset offering, creating a direct path to near-term project-based revenue. So basically, Datavault gets $8 million for tokenizing $125 million worth of real-world assets. Now, Datavault on earnings said they're in talks with companies and governments to tokenize trillions of dollars worth of assets. And that's where the big guidance raise came from recently. And we'll get to that in just a moment. But it says long-term recurring revenue. Perhaps the most compelling part of the deal for investors is the inclusion of a 5% participation in all of Triton's future digital token transaction fees. This term establishes a model for generating high-margin recurring revenue that can grow alongside the success of the tokenized asset, creating a lasting income stream with minimal additional costs. So that's basically what they did with Silex, I believe is the company, the biopharma company, where they get paid up front for tokenizing the assets of Silex, but they also can generate up to $2.5 billion in long-term recurring revenue if that company's successful, if their products do well, right? And that is a really lucrative model with a high margin potential. Now, it says here, from a single deal to a massive guidance upgrade. The Triton geothermal agreement is significant on its own, but its true importance lies in its role as the linchpin of the blockbuster news from Datavault AI's Q3 update, a massive upward revision to its revenue guidance. The Triton deal provides the tangible proof needed to make management's ambitious financial targets credible. Alongside its Q3 report, which showed revenue of $2.9 million, a 148% year-over-year increase, the company announced a dramatic upgrade to its financial outlook. Guidance for fiscal year 2025 was raised from a range of 12 to 15 million to a new higher floor of 30 million. Okay. It says even more striking, guidance for fiscal year 2026 was raised from 40 to 50 million to a new target of over 200 million. So they went from saying before earnings on November 14th, they were projecting $40 to $50 million in revenue next year. Great. That's impressive growth from 12 to 15 million this year. Impressive in and of itself. But then they say now they're looking at 200 million or more. They raised guidance over 400% on the high side. On the low side, they raised guidance 500%. That's wild. It says this represents a potential 400% increase at the low end of its previous forecast. It says management explained that this new forecast is based on a rapidly expanding global pipeline of RWA real-world asset tokenization contracts, noting that they are currently in negotiations on dozens of contracts worldwide. The Triton deal serves as the proof of concept for this pipeline. It transforms the guidance from a speculative projection into a believable business plan, lending significant weight to the bull case and providing a data-driven foundation for Wall Street's optimistic price targets. It says, building momentum and a fortified balance sheet. The Triton deal is not an anomaly, but the latest milestone in a consistent pattern of strategic execution. Since its transformation, Datavault AI has been methodically securing partnerships across diverse, high-value industries, including multi-billion-dollar licensing agreements with Silex, that's a biotech, and Nature's Miracle for carbon credits. This trend demonstrates that the company's platform is versatile and in demand. Of course, rapid growth requires capital. While Datavault's SEC filings include a standard going concern disclosure common for businesses in a high investment phase, management has proactively addressed its financial runway. Datavault AI has announced a $150 million strategic investment agreement with Silix Holdings. This agreement, pending shareholder approval, is structured so that Silix will make the payment in Bitcoin in exchange for equity. This move not only secures the long-term funding needed to sustain its growth trajectory, but also further immenses the company in the digital asset ecosystem. Okay. It says, we might as well just finish the article. It's 2 more paragraphs. It says, the inflection point from potential to proof. Datavault AI appears to have reached a clear inflection point, with its strategic narrative now backed by tangible execution and measurable results. The stock's recent 18% surge is a rational market response to news that de-risks the company's future revenue streams and validates its new direction. The Triton geothermal deal is a landmark achievement, not just for its revenue potential, but for its role in anchoring management's massive new revenue guidance. It effectively transforms the investment case from a story stock to an execution stock. For investors, the focus now shifts from questioning the company's vision to tracking its execution against a global pipeline that has been proven to be both real and lucrative. While all growth stage investments carry inherent risks, the path to analyst bullish price targets is becoming increasingly clear. Now, there's not a lot of price targets on the stock, okay? From high-ranked analysts. You have a $3 price target from one analyst. Before today, that was upside potential of 72.5%. But you have other $7, $10, $11 price targets from places like Seeking Alpha and Market Beat and Market Watch. Okay, so there is significantly higher price targets out there, but there's not a lot of analyst coverage from like a JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley or Cantor Fitzgerald or some of your more reputable firms. Now, following earnings, I think there's probably going to be a lot more attention put on the company. Okay, that would just be my opinion. Now, what you're also seeing today is a bit of a short squeeze. Okay, short interest of free float is estimated at 17.82%. It's estimated that 3.4 million shares were covered today. There's still 42 million shares outstanding that are sold short. Now, in recent news, the company started, they basically issued a meme coin dividend. It's the Dream Coin. That is payable, I believe, to shareholders as of November 24th, and then the meme coin is actually issued a day or two later. So you're in the last couple of days here where if you're a short seller, you have to pay that dividend, whatever the actual dollar amount is. So if you're short the stock right now, that was another good reason to not be short the stock anymore, okay? You're liable to pay dividends if you are short a stock when dividends are paid, just as a general principle in case you did not know. Now, over on StockTwits, the sentiment is bullish and the message volume is coming in at 50, which is considered normal. Now, DVLT hit a recent high of $4.10. What happened following that was a short report by Wolfpack Research. Datavault responded by suing Wolfpack Research and their CEO for defamation and lying on the company. So that's also seen as awesome, right? Company is not just sitting back and taking it. They're pursuing a legal action. Okay. So there's been a lot of news on this company recently, but the news has come as the markets have been in this severe liquidity drain from crypto crashing and margin calls happening in crypto, where again, even a 400 to 500% guidance raise was not even really acknowledged by Wall Street in the largest sense. Okay. Well, now it's starting to get a little bit more attention. The most fascinating thing about this company as well is the valuation. All right. Datavault AI, roughly $50 million market cap. You can see here $496 million market cap. Call it $500 million, give or take. With 200 million in projected ARR or revenue next year, you're looking at a stock that's trading at a little over 2 times sales, 2.5 times sales roughly. That is nothing. Look at a stock like Palantir. That trades at 70 times sales. Look at other kind of small or mid cap AI stocks, and most of them trade between 10 and 20 times sales. So, from a valuation perspective, there is certainly quite a bit of room for the stock to move higher at this point, right? Um, Now, you can also see that Silex Holding Company is up almost 28% today. It says it's trending due to community discussion around a potential meme coin dividend and its impact on short sellers. So, the two stocks kind of going hand in hand today. They're both doing well. Again, the meme coin. But even from a valuation perspective, I didn't buy the stock for the meme coin dividend thing, right? I bought the stock for the fact that they raised guidance 400% and Wall Street did not pay attention. Okay? Just logically, the stock could have 4x'd and had the same valuation as it had prior. The stock didn't move. Okay? So that's why I did buy the stock. Now, as far as my position, well, I don't have an actual share total in front of me. Roughly 15,000 shares is where we're sitting at. Times $2.53. I got about $38,000 invested in the stock. And I think this could be a 10x from here. Okay? If next year they actually execute and hit the targets, the following year, towards the end of next year, 10x opportunity all day long. And those are the kind of stocks that get me excited. Those are the kind of stocks that I want to invest in. Okay? And, as far as the stock in the very near term, well, there's a lot of room for upside on a, fundamental basis. And as we get new contracts, like the stock's going to react to that. It's one thing for a company to give guidance. It's another for the company to actually execute on that and to, give contract news and all of that. But from a valuation perspective, there's upside. From a short squeeze kind of momentum, perspective, there's upside as well. And again, while I think this could be a $20 stock at some point next year, what happens in the very near term, it's kind of hard to say, right? It's up 45% today. It wouldn't surprise me if the stock goes up even more than that tomorrow. But you kind of need to be prepared for anything to happen with stocks that are this volatile. So let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. If you guys want to come trade with us, check that link out down below in the description of today's episode. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.